Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for the Shinkalion Change the World Air Drone Accessory Pack. And here's a size comparison. I think they could be in the same universe. Here's the box. It's pretty small. It's nice and eco-friendly. It's all cardboard. And then you can see, like, this is what the drone looks like. But then if you compare that with the artwork is like way more detailed. It's got panel lining. And then the rifle barrel sticks out, but it doesn't actually do that in the actual toy. Doesn't look like that. So there's definitely some differences going on with the proportions, and the blades in the illustration are much longer than the actual blades. And then the instructions is just newsprint, and then he does come with a couple stickers, which you just load onto his back here. So I did put those on. They're not really great looking stickers. They don't really fit the aesthetic. So yeah, this is a really great looking accessory pack. I'm glad I bought it. I held off for a while because it was expensive on Amazon Japan, but now with combined shipping with other things I ordered, it ended up being about 20 bucks, which I think is like the perfect price point for this. I think it's well worth the 20 bucks. And it adds a lot. And I think it especially looks good on Phantom compared to any of the other robots. This just really works with him, and it's got a secret little mode I made that I'll show you at the end, which suits him even better. And here it is on like the robot it's supposed to be on, and you can see like the light blue doesn't really add anything to the dark blue. The color scheme doesn't really work that great together in my opinion, but I still think he looks good. So the different things you get, of course, are like the improved feet. You get these knee pads, which are more like thigh pads. And then you get this rifle. You get this blade kind of weapon. And then you get the drone wings and fans in the back here. And technically this piece, you're supposed to have it posed. This piece actually loads into the rifle. So you actually just stick it in this slot back here, and then it goes in there, and then you can kind of see it. It doesn't really add anything to it, but technically that's where it belongs, and this piece is for something secret. So you can put this in his hand, and it looks like that, and that's pretty cool. It really gives me Armored Core vibes, so I actually really enjoy the way it looks. Yeah, as soon as I attached it on the figure, I knew that I was going to keep this set. It looks really cool. And I like having the arm blade on his other arm. So yeah, I think it's a really good set and well worth it. So it's got a couple of other functions you can do. So we'll just go ahead and start disassembling everything. You can see everything just pegs on very nicely. It's got perfect fit. Everything fits very solidly. And then you do have articulation here if you want this to be able to rotate. If you want to do it upside down for some reason. So that's pretty cool that joint works as well. And then you get, yeah, like the rifle looks just really cool. It's got a little sight on it. It's very futuristic looking. And then I had to look at the instructions for this because I didn't even know this was a possibility. But you can use this. This is actually meant to be like a bolt. So you actually put this, you peg this down here, and then you peg these on to the side, I think, is how it looks in the instructions. And this basically becomes like a bow and arrow kind of thing. Alright, I'm not going to do the full combine mode because I don't have 10 minutes of my life to waste, but you get these two pegs here, and those are going to peg into the standard hands instead of the combined hands. You're going to put this on, and then you get like this cool crossbow looking thing, and then you have all these other bits I guess you could put on the combined mode robot in other various places. Like you got plenty of little ports you can work with by just pegging things on. So that's kind of cool that they made this crossbow weapon. And I do kind of like this look of using one of the Shinkalion as an arm. I've never done this before, but that's kind of cool looking. So we're going to assemble all these things into a drone. And of course, you probably could tell all these yellow bits are rubber, unfortunately, which is not my favorite thing, especially to have rubber on the pegs. That is not a good feeling, but it is what it is. If you've ever bought these things, you know that they use a lot of rubber now for the accessory parts. Anyway, you have all of this, and you're just going to peg the gun on under here. So that's going to make basically the frame of your drone, and you're just going to take the feet parts, and those are going to peg on to the fronts. And there you can see that's almost the entire drone. And then you're just going to peg these parts on into here, and then you're going to make sure that these slots are facing up, because those slots actually do have a purpose. They're not just decorative. And then you take the crotch piece, and that's just going to peg right there. So this is very easy to figure out, thankfully. It's very intuitive. And then you just take the knee pads, and they're going to become the vents up here. And here you have the whole assembly. And it's got this little extra bit that I'll talk about in a minute. And I could just peg that right there. It could really peg anywhere. But it looks pretty good. It's very wide, which I didn't expect. I thought it would be more square shaped. Oh, actually, I guess I'm technically doing this wrong. These bits are supposed to go like this to make it more of a drone shape. But you can see get like a jet wing kind of looking shape to it too, but you can also get more of a traditional four-way drone, which looks pretty good. And the cool thing about these slots is that they're made so that your figure can actually stand on them. So you can actually get this like as a platform to transport your troops, which is pretty cool. So they can ride on it. So that's pretty cool. It doesn't peg like super well, unfortunately. The friction is a little low, but you could probably fix that up by adding a little bit of glue and then wiping it off. But yeah, that's a pretty nice play feature that you can have them riding on that. And you could actually have another figure right on the back, I guess. You could hold like 4 figures with this. These little fins are kind of getting in the way, but technically it's possible. It doesn't feel great because these things are held on by rubber, so it's not the best thing. I might drill these out and put some screws or something in them to make them a little less floppy. But it's a cool play feature, and I think it's something cool that none of the other vehicles do, is actually integrate with the robot without becoming armor. So I appreciate that they added that. And then it's got one more feature that I made for it, is if you just take off all these parts and we use this combination that I made. So it's pretty clear how I made it. I just used 2 Lego pieces and I glued them to each other and then used this acrylic shaft. You can actually peg all these into here. And now you have a Shuriken, and then I put this acrylic post right here as well. So now he's got this great Shuriken, and he can hold it in a variety of ways. So he can use like this post here, and that can just go on his forearm. But his shoulder pads get in the way with that a little bit. But you can see he can hold it that way for storage, which I think works pretty well. He can try to hold it in this hand from that same peg. And that doesn't look too bad either. It looks like he's gonna frisbee it. And then the last way, which is my preference, is for him to hold it up here. And then it looks like he's about to give it a throw, or he can use it as a melee weapon. So you can get some really cool posing out of this. And I think it really suits Phantom's like ninja aesthetic. So I think this is like a perfect fit for this guy. There you go. Doesn't that look, that looks terrific to me. I really like the way that looks. such a cool looking weapon now. And then while we're on the subject of modified shuriken, I also modified this guy's shuriken. So a really small mod. I just put a long acrylic post here. I drilled out his hand a little bit so it'd be 5 millimeters. And now he can also hold his shuriken in a throwing pose. Or he can use it to like just slash somebody up. Yeah, so that's pretty fun. I like the way that looks. Yeah, I really like having that post there. It makes such a big difference. And it was very easy. Just had to drill this plastic out here and then just glue it in place. I could reinforce that with polyplastic too, but it doesn't really need it. And then it does still transform, so you can still turn it back into its card mode. I offset it deliberately. I haven't actually tested this out, but I have faith in myself. Yeah, so it's going to stick out of the card right there. But yeah, so that's the shuriken mods I've been working on too. So that was a fun little project that took maybe like an hour for both. It didn't take that long altogether. So yeah, really recommend this set. I'll put the link in the description, and I'll also put the link for you to buy my other robots that I have. That's what helps fund this channel. All right, and I'll see you in the next one.